Well, hello there, Sharon.
Hi, Ollie. How are you?
I'm very good. And I want to say hello to our dedicated supporters who are joining us on this call today, and for everybody who will be watching this later on the recorded version.
Hi,
Sharon,
everyone.
I want to start by saying what an amazing year it's been so far. Um,
Absolutely.
we have so many achievements and accomplishments that you're going to speak about a little bit later, but to bring it in context, we are currently in the middle of a matching gift campaign for our supporters to give, and if they give now, their gifts will be doubled. And this is what we do every year. And last year we did this same thing at this time. And I want just to say, all of the things that we accomplished this year, everything, are because supporters like you out there in the audience right now cared about our cause, you cared about animals, you used your voice to stand up, and you gave and you made things happen. And it's an amazing thing to be part of such a team of supporters who care so much about our work.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, when you support animal equality, you're supporting animals, you're supporting a team of global activists around the world, not only 100 team members, but the thousands of volunteers that we have around the world. And you're supporting a vision that has a very strong focus on animals. That is our vision, a world where all animals are respected and protected. And that's what we fight every day for. So it's a true honor to work at Animal Equality, and it's a true honor to meet and be able to speak with all of you supporters today.
And not only the gifts, as you mentioned, Sharon, but you talked about the actual actions that our supporters take all over the world, from contacting legislators to signing petitions to standing up and protesting. I mean, these events are happening all around the world and they're making a tremendous difference. I mean, we change laws because of the groundswell of support our issues garner. We change laws because people sign petitions. We change policies and we stop companies that, like, for example, the company that we're currently working against, Denny's and Aldi. We're stopping them from their terrible practices because of people like you who stand up and who make a difference. And Sharon, I know you have some slides prepared. We'd love to see those. If you want to share those, get that up. And in the meantime, if you have not given yet to animal equality in 2023, or even if you have, this is a great time to once again give, because like I said, your donation will be matched by a generous supporter, and that will happen until the end of the year, December 31st. But Sharon, the floor is yours. Let's hear about all those amazing accomplishments that our supporters made possible.
Yeah, so thanks so much, Ollie. Again, thank you so much to all of you who are here today, all of you who support animal equality as a team member, as a volunteer, as a supporter, as a donor. We would not be able to carry out our vision without each and every one of you. And animals don't have a lot. They're locked in cages, their lives are taken away from them in slaughterhouses. They're separated from their children. They see their friends being killed. They have very, very, very little to look forward to. But thanks to the people who are here today, and thanks to the team at Animal Equality and all of the activists around the world who are part of this global vision, um, we are impacting millions of animals. So eternally grateful for all of that and all of you who put animals first. So I'm going to start by reminding everyone what animal equality is and what you're supporting when you're supporting animal equality, when you are part of animal equality. Animal equality is incredibly unique in the sense that it was built as an international global organization. I myself am half Spanish, half Irish. I live in the US. We started the organization in Spain. Other people started the organization in Italy, in the UK. And finally, we moved to the US to start a branch of animal equality here in the US and to also be able to further support our activism worldwide, our activism in India, in Mexico, and in Brazil. So when you are part of animal equality, when you are supporting animal equality, you're supporting a global movement of activists around the world. And we have a theme at Animal Equality that's global first. We don't think about ourselves. We don't think about our necessarily about what our priorities are or what the priorities of our department are or our country are. We think, how can we have more of a global impact? How can we be more effective? And that is what Animal Equality is focused on. So as many of you know, we're working in 4 European countries. We're working in India tirelessly, in Brazil and Mexico, and of course, in the US. I'm going to start with Germany because there has been some changes in Germany, and we've just inaugurated a new director, Vanessa. And the last year in Germany has been, I think, one of the most successful that we've had so far. Not only are we engaging with the public, showing them our virtual reality and getting people to go vegetarian and vegan, not only are we have someone in the field doing an investigation that will be absolutely groundbreaking when it comes out, but we've also taken on very important campaigns. And there's 2 particularly I want to mention. One is a campaign to get little to improve the welfare for chickens. And the second campaign that shows the potential of being a global organization is our campaign against Aldi. So Aldi has strict animal welfare policies for hens and for pigs in Germany. They actually make this their brand. Unfortunately, it's the opposite in the US. And we can't deal with such hypocrisy. And we are actively campaigning against Aldi worldwide, but specifically in the US and in Germany, where they are headquartered, to ask them to stop being hypocrites, to stop lying to us, to stop lying to their consumers, and to eliminate cages, to eliminate confinement from their systems in the US. This is one of the protests we did at the very famous Brandenburg door, where we actually took 2 real gestation crates and we showed the public and we showed Aldi what exactly we are talking about when we are talking about banning gestation crates. We're talking about taking pregnant, innocent mother pigs out of cages the size of their own body. So lots happening in Germany, very excited about the future, and keep your eyes open on the next investigation coming soon. And of course, we are here to win. We will win the Aldi campaign, and we will need your support to do that. Brazil, a lot of exciting things happening in Brazil. And perhaps something that is unique about animal equality is that animal equality is equally strong in all the countries it's in. In all the countries we are in, we are doing work with companies and institutions. We are changing laws. We are working with the public to get them to reduce their meat consumption or go vegetarian and vegan. And we are using novel ways of getting people engaged. We are strong in every country we're in. And an example of that is Brazil, where our executive director, Carla, has not only met the current president of Brazil and spoken to him about the need for animal protections for animals in Brazil, but we are about to introduce a groundbreaking bill to eliminate cages in the country. And we think that with your support, with strong campaigning, and with the support of other activists and organizations, we will be able to achieve something groundbreaking. Brazilians care about animals, and we think it's time to take that a step forward and to introduce the first ever bill to eliminate cages for farmed animals in Brazil. So really excited, and there you can see our executive director in the center of the photo, always focused on how we can have a biggest impact for animals.
And Sharon, I just want to say too, it's not just a company or a state. It's once again, animal equality is going to potentially change the laws of an entire country. And that is a tremendous feat, and a feat that is, again, made possible by our supporters and made possible by people who care about these issues. And it's a remarkable thing to see an entire country potentially changing their laws based on our work.
Absolutely. And, you know, sometimes we may think that the this might not be possible, or we won't be able to achieve this. The most important thing that animals need is our perseverance. They need us to continue getting up every morning, donating to organizations like Animal Equality, working for animals, signing petitions, protesting, getting our friends and family involved. That's what's ultimately going to lead to change for these innocent beings. And here in Brazil, what I love about animal equality is that each one of us is hands-on. We are activists, we're advocates for animals. And here we have Carla, who's our executive director in Brazil, not in some office, although she works in an office too, not in some, she is in the streets protesting with her team and with activists to get the biggest corporations in Brazil to eliminate cages. So we are hands-on. We believe that we are activists, advocates for animals first and foremost. And you can see that as something that is a continuum throughout animal equality. So keep your eyes open for Brazil. We've presented an investigation this year. We're going to be presenting more investigations in 2024. And just in a few days, we will be presenting a groundbreaking bill to eliminate cages for animals in Brazil. And we will keep you informed, as we always do, on everything that is happening.
Sharon,
Moving on.
there was a question from the audience, I think is actually
Yeah,
a good question to
that's
ask
good.
right now. It says, which strategy does animal equality use more often? A legislative approach, for example, to pass a new law, or a corporation approach, for example, protesting Denny's and Aldi? And I think the answer is probably a little bit of both, but I'll let you chime in with the answer.
Yeah, do we have the name of the person who asked the question? I just want
It's
to
an
thank.
anonymous question.
Well, Anonymous, thank you so much for your question. It's a great question, and it takes a lot of time to decide what strategy we're going to follow. But the most important question we need to ask ourselves is, what is our objective? Once you know what your objective is, and once you know that your objective is going to have a maximum impact on animals, like, for example, eliminating cages for hens, that is one of the cruelest systems that has ever existed, then we follow a very detailed process that sometimes takes months to analyze what we're going to do first. Is it more effective, like we're doing in Spain, to focus on companies and move companies to going cage-free, making sure that they're following through with their commitments, and then eventually introduce a legislative initiative? That's the case of Spain. Or is it more effective, like in the case of Mexico, to introduce legislative initiatives state by state, because we aren't necessarily having the same impact with companies as we're having in Spain? So what is really, really important is for the organization to know that what its objective is. It's always going to be animals. It's always going to be as effective as possible. And from there, our team builds the most effective strategies, and we're flexible. If things don't work, we change quite rapidly, because that's what animals need. And never forgetting that we are always, as an organization that is an animal rights organization, we are always promoting the reduction of animal products. We're not going to end animal abuse if we don't reduce the amount of animal products, and if we don't go vegetarian or vegan. So that is critically important and a key part of our messaging. Thank you so much for your question, and continue asking questions. I'm very, very, very happy to answer them.
And I will just say before you continue is that thankfully, regardless of the option that we're able to take, either legislative or corporate policy work, we have the resources thanks to our supporters. Thanks to our donors, we're able to choose the path that makes the most sense to make the biggest impact on animals, because we receive your support. With your support, we can make these choices. We can do what's best. And I just want to, again, thank you all for continuing to contribute and allow us to have these choices. Sharon, continue.
Yeah, and actually that's a great segue to Italy, where we are doing some of the most important investigations to this date in the country, and I would say in Europe, where we are finding terrible cruelty towards animals, and where we are not only doing these investigations, but we are making sure to follow up with the adequate prosecutions. And also we have someone who's directly working, someone who used to work at the European Parliament, and who's directly working with the European Parliament and with Italian government and government officials to change laws in Italy. So it is critical that we continue doing undercover investigations, not only in Italy, as you can see in the picture, but around the world. This is part of the most important work that Animal Equality is doing. And another important aspect of our work in Italy, and here I'm just choosing, we're doing dozens of things in Italy with focus, but we're doing a lot. I've decided to choose today some of the most important, some of the ones that will have the most impact. And you may remember that in 2022, Animal Equality was able to work to pass a ban on male chick killing in Italy. Male chicks are killed a few minutes after they're born because they don't lay eggs and because they can't be raised for meat. They don't grow big enough to be able to be productive or to be able to be used by the meat industry. So they are just killed when they're babies, they're asphyxiated, they're thrown around, they fall off conveyor belts. It's a real horror story. And several countries, France and now Italy, have banned male chick killing. And now we are working directly with the government in Italy at this moment to make sure that this law that is going to pass is as strict and as protective with baby male chicks as possible. So we are taking our activism, thanks to your support, as far as we can. Yes, we do the investigation, but we follow up with the politicians. But we also make sure that we have experts who are working and drafting legislative initiatives that are going to be the best possible for animals. And then, like in the case of the UK, we make sure that we follow with enforcement. In the UK, we did a report about enforcement of animal protection laws in the UK, and we are working to ensure that the animal protection laws that exist are enforced throughout the countries that we're working with. Same with corporations. We not only get the policy, but we make sure to work with these companies to come out with reports, to build roadmaps on when these changes are going to occur. And of course, with those people who decide to eliminate animal products from their diet, following up constantly with information on the importance of becoming plant-based. Mexico, as you know, Animal Equality is a powerhouse in Mexico. We are such a strong team. We do investigations, but the most important work that we do in Mexico is our legislative work and our plant-based work. With our legislative work, only this year, we have impacted 60,000 animals with the passing of animal protections in Mexico City. While we've achieved that, last year, we impacted millions of animals through the passing of an initiative in the state of Hidalgo that reflected animals in the law. It protected farmed animals within the law, and we are doing the same in other states. So we're introducing these bills, but we're also strategically working on the federal level. So we're working on the state level and the federal level to make sure that animals are recognized by the Constitution as sentient beings. Our relation with government officials and politicians in Mexico couldn't be better, thanks to Jan and Dulce, and Isabel, who you can see in the photo. And we will continue to work legislatively in Mexico. We think this is one of the most critical work that we can do in the country, and that we will continue to do. And of course, I'll speak about our plant-based work a little bit later, but the groundbreaking investigations. This is an investigation we released into chicken slaughter this year, and we use these investigations, of course, to show them to stakeholders and get changes passed for animals. We get changes passed, getting people to eliminate animal products, but also passing laws that further criminalize extreme cruelty to animals. And we are now also working on carrying out our next investigation in Mexico. There's a lot of work that's already in process for 2024. And all I can tell you is that we need all the support that we can get, because 2024 is going to be a critical year for our investigations, for our legislative work, and for our corporate work in all of the countries we're in. And when I say critical, I'm talking about working with some of the biggest news channels in the world. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at working with some of the biggest news channels in the world to get our investigations presented. So please support us, because animals need you. In the UK, we talked about enforcement. We are working to make sure that the animal protection laws that exist are enforced. We're also working to ban foie gras. Actually, this idea of animal equality as an activist group is so real, it's so touchable, that today, our executive director in the UK, Abigail Penny, has traveled 5 hours to Scotland to give a speech to the Scottish Parliament about the need to stop the construction of a huge fish farm in Scotland. That she didn't doubt, said, "You're invited." She wrote the speech. She prepared it yesterday. She said, "I'm off to Scotland to give this speech to see if we can see if we can stop the construction of this fish farm." We're always active, and we are always on the ground, thinking strategically, but always on the ground. And yes, protecting fishes is one of our most important work in the UK. We've gotten huge media attention on the amount of salmon who die in fish farms. It's absolutely horrible. These animals are eaten by disease. They're overcrowded. They die by the millions, and the fish industry doesn't care. And what animal equality is looking for is not only for stricter protections, but also for a moratorium, a stop to the construction of new salmon farms in Scotland. And of course, encouraging the public to please leave fish off your plate. Fish are sentient, they're wonderful animals. They feel, actually touching a fish, they're so sensitive that it would be like if someone put their finger on our cornea. They're incredibly sensitive animals. Most of the myths around fish aren't true. They have, depending on the species, incredible memories. And the most important, they feel and they deserve a life, and they do not deserve to spend their entire lives in infested fish farms, contaminated and overcrowded. And that is our commitment to fish and to animals in the UK. In Europe,
Aaron, I will say too that the footage that we've had this year is featured twice on BBC's Panorama in 2023, correct? I mean, that reached millions and millions of people.
Yes, we've been on the BBC a number of times, including this year, and also in other major newspapers like The Guardian. We are the to-go organization when it comes to fish in the UK. And I don't know if yesterday or the day before, there was another article about our work to protect fish in the UK. So if you care about fish, and all of us do, Animal Equality is the organization to be supporting.
And it's not just to brag about the coverage. I mean, yes, obviously having that coverage is very impactful to us and to our message, but millions of people who saw this reacted. There were comments, there were people pledging to change their diet, people pledging to stand up for these abuses in the future. So thankfully we do get this coverage, but it's not just about the coverage, it's about activating people, and that's what Animal Equality does. We activate people all across the world, including here in Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. And in Europe, you can see our executive director for Germany, Vanessa, in the center of the photo. There is so much happening at the European level this year that I could have another talk only about this. I'll summarize by saying that the European Commission had promised new protections for animals in Europe to be presented before the end of the year. A revision of their animal welfare policies, and they have not presented anything so far. And they seem to be thinking about presenting an improvement on the live transport of animals throughout Europe. So this is tremendously concerning. that the European Commission and the European Parliament has not listened to the millions and millions of Europeans who want to see an end to the cage age in Europe, to the hundreds of organizations like Animal Equality that are constantly advocating for improvements of animal welfare in Europe. And we have been protesting with other groups. We are part of Eurogroup for Animals, that is a lobbying organization within the European Union, and we will not stop until the European Commission follows through with their promise. We're waiting to see what they come up with regarding animal transport. We will give feedback, and we will also use it as an opportunity to ask them to eliminate cages in Europe. California has already eliminated cages and has banned the sale of animal products from animals that come in a cage. It's time for other countries, and it's time for Europe to do the same. And also in Europe, we're asking for a specific animal welfare commissioner. We think that the interests of animals aren't served in the best way possible without a commissioner. And here you can see two of our team members being part of this protest, of this action, demanding the European Union for an animal commissioner that will be specifically focused on the welfare of animals as part of the European Commission. Moving on to Spain, it has been a great year for us in terms of investigations, and there's so much more to come in 2024. So please stay open for some of the investigations that we're going to be presenting. We presented an investigation inside pig farms in Spain that was absolutely moving. And we're not only did we present this footage, but we are using again this footage to try to get changes legislatively and corporate changes for animals. And most importantly, encouraging people in Spain, the amount of people who are reducing their meat consumption, going vegetarian or vegan in Spain, especially the millennials and Gen Z, is increasing significantly. This is very, very clear if you visit Barcelona or Madrid. So it's really a great opportunity for people to see what is happening inside pig farms in Spain. And as a reminder, Animal Equality went to a pig farm with the most important journalist in Spain a few years ago. And that was an absolute scandal. It was such a scandal that it was on the media for days. And it was people still talk about that investigation. And then in Spain, as in other countries, we're building a movement. This is our Spanish team just this weekend. Again, always touching, always with our feet on the ground to help animals at a fair in the north of Spain with a booth, informing thousands of people about the cruelties that animals endure, and using iAnimal, our virtual reality tool, where people can get completely immersed in what it's like to be a factory farmed animal, and where we have seen and we know that it impacts people so much that a lot of them choose to go vegan or vegetarian after watching it. So building a movement of activists and people who are fully engaged with animals. In India, we continue to work on our investigations to ban and protect cows and buffaloes. Some of the footage that has come out of our Indian investigations into buffaloes and cows is horrific. I'm not going to describe it, but it's horrific, and we are following through with prosecution. And in India is one of the countries where we need the most support. It's a huge country. We have not a lot of team members, and these team members are in the field right now doing an investigation. And when they're not doing an investigation, they're promoting plant-based eating. They've managed to get dozens of Bollywood celebrities. You can see it on our YouTube page in Animal Equality India to promote plant-based, to promote veganism. And more than that, they are also working with corporations to get them to eliminate some of the worst cruelties. So our team in India is unstoppable. These people have literally risked their own lives in order to be able to get some of the footage. It's not an easy, I've visited India 5 times. It's not an easy country to work in. None of them are, but some of them are more difficult than others. And they need all of the support they can get because they are completely committed to improving the lives and the welfare of animals in India. And moving on to the US, we're here worldwide, and we're here to win. We're here to win for mother pigs. Denny's made a promise in 2012 that it would eliminate gestation crates, cages so small where mother pigs can't even turn around, from their supply chain. They have not only not done so, but after a year of campaigning and dialogue with us, they cut off dialogue completely. And after a year of campaigning, during a protest, animal equality organized, but that was also joined by a lot of their consumers and concerned citizens, Denny's decided literally to show us the middle finger. We are absolutely outraged at this lack of respect towards concerned citizens, consumers, and peaceful animal protesters. We will continue relentlessly working to get Denny's to come out with a meaningful policy to protect mother pigs. And I myself will be in Spartanburg in Denny's headquarters in 2 weeks to give them 53,000 comments of people who are demanding them to please take animals and to please take mother pigs seriously. So we're here to win. We will not stop. Please support this campaign. Any donation that you make will go to create the banners and to create the protest that will get Denny's to change. We have no doubt it's a matter of when, not a matter of if. And in the US, we're doing investigations. We're going to be relaunching our Love Veg page in January. We've actually just created a wonderful vegan cookbook that you can see on our page. And then we are also, at this time, we have someone who is at a trial to protect animals. I can't give more details, but we will soon. And we're also working after an investigation that we did inside foster farms, where we found baby chickens that were being caught in trays that ended up in washing machines, and that where they were getting scalded alive. They told us that nothing could be done, that there would not be a prosecution. And we found a way to prosecute foster farm using an unfair competition law in California. Not are we only so advanced in this case that we are already looking into evidence, but we are so advanced in this case that a trial date has been set. And of course, I will be there, as well as other animal equality advocates, to ensure that there is justice and that foster farms recognizes and pays and takes ownership of the cruelty that animals are enduring in their hatcheries. Diet change. What could be most important than the actions that we take? We need to be the change we want to see in the world. And animal equality understands that diet change needs encouragement, it needs inspiration, and it needs system change. And when I say system change, I mean that we need to be working with institutions, as we do in Mexico, to get them to introduce more plant-based options. In Mexico, we are working with the government to get them to, and actually we've already achieved it, to reduce the amount of animal products that the government is recommending to Mexicans. And here we have chefs from Mexico. We are teaching them how to make delicious plant-based food, vegan cheese, vegan typical Mexican dishes, so they can go out into the world trained as vegan chefs and make decisions that are compassionate for animals and that people are demanding more and more. We continue with technology. There's a lot coming out in 2024. And again, I can't give a lot of details, but I ask you to please support. We are always, we have several people working in our tech team. We understand that technology is the future, and we want technology to be used for animals. So not only will we continue with our iAnimal, we've been just in the last week in several cities, including here in an activist here in Austin, where I'm based, showing iAnimal during Thanksgiving. But we're also using the latest technology, which you will soon, hopefully in our next call, I'll tell you more about, to promote plant-based eating. And our global campaign that has just been launched against forced feeding. Foie gras is a product of torturing an animal and sickening an animal and eating their diseased liver. And these animals are miserable. Not only do they spend their lives many times in cages, as we see in the photo, but a huge tube is put down their neck in order to force feed them, to make them sick. And then people eat this terrible food. We just released new footage in France on the cruelty of foie gras. We are working in different US cities and states to get a ban on the sale of foie gras. We're also working strongly in the UK to ban the sale of foie gras. There's already a ban on the production of foie gras in the UK. And our executive director was in Parliament just a few days ago to discuss a ban in the UK Parliament and the British Parliament to discuss a ban on foie gras in the United Kingdom, and it's the same throughout the different countries. And of course, we're working at a European level and in Brazil and Mexico and other countries to get a ban either on the production, and if there is a ban on the production, on the sale of foie gras. And to finish, I want to talk about horse slaughter. Horses are sometimes forgotten, but they are animals that are killed and used for meat in several countries. In the country I come from, Spain and Italy and other countries. Here in the US, even though horses aren't killed for meat, they are transported to other countries like Mexico, where they are killed for their meat. We released an investigation the year before last showing what this cruelty looks like. One of the images was a horse being shackled by his neck or her neck, completely conscious before they were killed. And we are working worldwide to get a ban. We have been able to not only engage tens of thousands of people on asking their governments for a ban on horse feed, but we are directly in contact with politicians in countries like Italy fighting for a horse ban. So if you care about horses, if you cared about animals raised and killed for meat, please support our work. And that is it for me today. I want to again thank you from the bottom of my heart. Our mission is animals, will always be animals. And if you care about animals, I truly believe, and I myself have donated $250 to Animal Equality because I believe so clearly on our mission and in the commitment of our team, of our activists, our donors, and of course of you. We could not do this without you. So I ask you to please give generously, not to Animal Equality, but to animals. And we will be the vessel that ensures that support gets to animals to impact as many lives as possible. That's our mission and our promise to you. Thank you very, very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Sharon. And just a quick shout out to a few of our, there's quite a bunch of live supporters on live viewers on this call, but just a quick shout out to Deborah, to Hannah, to Mark, to Stanley, to Terry. It's a whole bunch, Alex, Angela,
Love you all.
Andre, Bill. There's a whole host of people on the call right now. I just want to say thank you to each of you for watching live. And I want to thank each of you, as Sharon said, for contributing as you have to ensure that this work continues. And we look forward to doing even more in 2024 with your support. We will. And don't forget, every gift you can give right now until the end of the year is matched. Once again,
Yes.
Sharon, thank you so much for having us.
My absolute honor and pleasure. Thank you, Ollie.
Take care now, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Take care. Thank you so much.